Earlier today, Senate Minority Leader, I'm never gonna get sick of saying that, Mitch McConnell took to the floor to speak up in defense of the filibuster, mostly through threatening the Democrats with what will happen if they reform it in literally any way. But first, before he threatens the Democrats, he wants to kind of insult the voters a little bit and talk about what they were and weren't voting for in the last couple of elections. So here he is.
Does anyone really believe the American people were voting for an entirely new system of government by electing Joe Biden to the White House and a 50-50 Senate? This is a 50-50 Senate. There was no mandate to completely transform America by the American people on November 3rd. That may be what a few liberal activists want, but does anyone believe that millions of Americans thought that's what they were electing? Of course not.
God, he's boring. Anyway, Ben, there's a few things there that I take issue with. When it comes to reform of the filibuster, which he's pitching as an entirely new system of government, I would say that that's more what those who tried to overthrow our government a couple months ago were working for. Right. He pitches that as a sort of fundamental change to everything. Is this what do you think the people were voting for on November 3rd or in those special elections?
A fundamental change in the direction that this country has been going in for quite some time. I mean, if you really just look at the actual mandate, you look at Georgia. The people came out twice in Georgia for specific things. And these are the specific things that Mitch McConnell and the Senate Republicans are going to stand in the way are, namely HR 1. The need for that bill to come to the Senate and to be able to be passed so that we can maintain and expand our voting rights. This is the number one thing that they're going to try to block with the filibuster. So, every time we have an election, the other side tries to claim that there is no mandate, but Republicans have shown that they don't ever require a mandate to execute their hyper-conservative agenda, namely that 2017 $2 trillion package of tax giveaways they gave to the Republicans, to billionaires and millionaires.
I mean, they claimed a mandate following 2016 when he lost the popular vote by millions.
Right.
And I just, I want to ask. I love asking pointless questions because they are asked sort of presupposing a world where anyone is actually acting in a intellectually honest fashion, which is not what Mitch McConnell's doing. But I want to ask, what do the people have to do to send the signal that they actually want something to be done, that they want the government to function, to identify problems and fix them? Because more of them voting for the Democrat versus Trump in 2016 didn't send that signal. The string of special election victories apparently didn't send that signal. Flipping the House in 2018 and electing the best progressives we've had, in decades and decades didn't send the signal. Right. Beating Trump for re-election didn't send the signal. Winning 2 simultaneous special elections in Georgia of all places didn't send the signal. So what are we supposed to do? Like, what can the people say to indicate that we think the government should function for something other than demonizing immigrants and giving tax breaks to wealthy people? Like, we think that it should have some other function. And at this point, obviously, again, he's not being intellectually honest, but I don't know what legitimate signal could be sent other than we want the government to do something.
Abolishing the filibuster, right? That's it at this point, because that's what they have used for years to maintain the tyranny of the minority, right? And when they get in power, they have no problem using reconciliation to pass any draconian policies that they want to pass. They have no problem ignoring the will of the people, have no problem ignoring the input of Democrats. They do what they want to do. And because the Democrats have this undue amount of respect for that institution, the institution of the filibuster, which is not constitutional, by the way, what needs to be done is to repeal or to abolish rather the filibuster so stuff can get done. That's really the only move at this point.
Exactly. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.